Oh, sorry folks, I don't know what happened there. I had a little snooze there while I was waiting for the internet to come back on. Yeah, I lost my internet signal, and literally the phone that I'm using to record is right next to the router. It's right here. So I don't know how that happened. Apologies, but here I am. If you managed to find me, I had to end that broadcast. So I've started this one. We'll see if anybody comments appear, if anybody's actually managed to relocate me, but I'm back. So I was in the middle of a set there, and suddenly the screen went blank and it said, "Ooh, internet nightmare, problem with connection." I waited for ages for it to come back on, but it didn't, so I just had to restart the whole thing. So here I am. Anyway, will I restart the whole set? No, that would be too punishing, too cruel on you all. So I will start where I left off, the Quarrelsome Piper. I was in the middle of playing the Quarrelsome Piper. It was very quarrelsome because it cut off the broadcast. Great tunes there. That was the Gypsies, the last one. The tune before it, the Quarrelsome Piper. And the tune before that is on another broadcast. If you've just tuned in, I had a slight problem with the internet, and I broke transmission. Oh, shocking. Forgive me for breaking transmission in the middle of the show. And if you want to catch the very first tune in the set, it's on a completely different recording. That was the Firefly. Anyway, 3 nice little hornpipes there. Well, I don't know if anybody's watching because I can't see any comments or anythings. Can't see anything. No likes, no nothings, no dislikes even out there. So I don't know if anybody is watching. But it says I'm going out live, so I presume I am. On the upside, I managed to finish my breakfast in that little unexpected gap and break. I managed to get on with my oakum picking, which is what we British prisoners do, Victorian prisoners, because this is a kind of Victorian garb, isn't it? Or maybe it's American 1950s convict garb. I don't know. Anyway, convict is actually a word that's only really used for people that were sent to Australia, we discovered today. So I don't know if convict was the right word for me, because I'm not specifically an Australian convict. Of course, that's what all the nice people of Australia are descended from, convicts. They've done well for themselves, haven't they? Yeah. Well, they've done well today getting old Djokovic to finally out of the country. That's brilliant. Yeah, not got any time for anti-vaxxers. Now, what is the Oakham? I was talking about picking Oakham. So anyway, this was the main pastime, if you could call it that. It was like torture for the inmates in Victorian days. You had to unpick this old rope, money for old rope in the prison. You know, ship's ropes. Apparently, it was called junk. These bits of ends of rope, junk. I think that's probably where we got the word junk from. I don't know. Anyway, they had to uncoil, you know, these massive, big, thick ropes and untwist them and untwist all the little spirals. And then you mix them with, I think it was pine resin to make oakum, which is used to caulk decks of ships in time. Horrendous job. Anyway, that's what thousands of prisoners were doing back in the day. And now they just watch TV. Phone people on the mobile phones, don't they? Change days. Oh, right. We've got a wonderful poem coming up now because keen fan of the show, Davey English. I hadn't actually heard from a while, but some of you may remember Davey's sending wonderful poems sometimes inspired by whatever my previous show of the week was. So I hadn't heard from him for ages, but normally he sends them through Facebook. I got one through the post, a lovely card. A little dog that reminded me of Toki. It's on the mantelpiece actually, I don't know if you can see it. It's that one. Oh, you know what? I'll bring it over. It's too far away. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that a nice little card? Little doggy sticking his head out the window. Toki used to do that actually, although I don't think I ever put goggles on him. Toki, I've heard from Toki. He got a Sandy Brechin calendar and he's loving it over in Canada. He's got pictures of Toki, of course, on the calendar for all those of you that were lucky enough to order one for Christmas. So I hope you're all enjoying your calendars out there. Amazing, it got through these dodgy photos on the calendar, got through customs and made it through. Brilliant. Anyway, Davey sent me a card with that picture, that very card with a picture of the dog on the front and a poem inside about last week's show. So it was very good. I thought I'd read it to you. It was Chief Cameron Miekelson, of course, from Scout Squid, as I called it. And it's entitled, here it is, written on real paper. I'm going to read the whole thing for you. Bear with me. It's called They Fought the Law and Miekelson Won. I was sitting with my laptop at the table I have lunch on when on came Sandy, waving a truncheon. I gazed in utter total disbelief, for he was dressed as Cameron Miekelson, Scotland's great police chief. With the accordion strapped on, you could tell by his face that from his improvised music style there would be no hiding place. Performing on his own though, he would be absolutely fine, pounding a musical beat, a squeezebox player's thin blue line. Yeah, it's actually the thin red line that we have to worry about these days, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, stretching his memory to go back far, he introduced the theme from Z Cars. And another old show that he must have seen would have been the much-loved Diction of Dock Green. Well, I did think about that actually, Davey, and I did actually used to play that theme tune, but I'd actually forgotten it and I ran out of time to relearn it, sorry. And I nearly choked on my pickle and ham when he told of a street run-in with the local BAM. Why do we tolerate these unruly Neds? Can they not just be tasered and locked up instead? He then went on to tell a true story of the time he impersonated the Polis in Tobermory. This was when I was doing the play The Accidental Death of Accordionist, and we had to go down in character, and I got arrested. He was given a lift back to join his team, sat in a police van licking an ice cream. True story. Though out in the middle of nowhere, way up in Inverness, this is a reference to when I was playing up there in Hogmanay, we got a message that their kebabs are the very best. Oh yes, they are. Thicker and meatier and tasting very nice. An improvement on our city's ones, as was the price. Yes, 2/3 of the price and much bigger and meatier. It was a no-show though from our lovely real-life canine beauty. Police dog Lola was missing, walking the meadows in the line of duty. Well, she's missing again this week. Shocking. And Sandy talked of giving somebody a good truncheoning. Did I? I suppose that's all right if that's your thing. That doesn't rhyme. Okay, you can work on that verse, Davey. I'll let you away with that. Online there came a damsel in obvious distress, seeking help to get to Bristol. This was actually Cat Mapleston, my pupil, who gave me the wig that I was wearing in the show Music from Scotland since the Miekelson show, which I did. Was that Wednesday night? Yes, it was Wednesday night. Anyway, that's just by the by. Thank you though, Cat. Wonderful Christmas present. But our chief's powers only covered the land of the thistle. That rhymed with Bristol a minute ago. We don't know how she got on. Last we heard she was still stuck down in Soton. That's short for Southampton, apparently. Sandy stayed up late and told us why. It was to look Arnie Schwarzenegger in the eye. I was watching Terminator. And relayed a wish to get a red tracksuit, free if he can, so he can play Steve Austin as the Bionic Man. Page 2. A few police tunes were his next foray, and a lovely wee cheeky one was A Policeman's Holiday. That was a nice tune, wasn't it? And as he reminisced about the bill, their theme was awful, composed without thrill. The laughing policeman was no laughing matter. As he chortled the tune and gave us his patter, the melody sounded a bit of a fraud, and he sang it more like a Diddy Ken Dodd. Done Ken Dodd, by the way, that was last year. The next tune that came to hand was courtesy of the great Sir Jimmy Shand, when a mighty, machty tune the Dundee City Police Pipe Band filled the room. Then from his chair he soon parted, as to the front door he quickly darted. That's when William couldn't get in, a special guest, because the door had locked that left open for him. A star guest, who I won't be naming, was let inside because it was raining. Now Sandy could have sang and regaled us instead with all his dazzling razzmatazz, and give us a song or two, even breaking into jazz. And what jazz would be appropriate? Well, if I had to choose, it would be the much lamented Hill Street Blues. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot about that. Just totally off the cuff. I used to love Hill Street Blues. Anyway, back to the poem. This Sunday's show should have had an age-rated warning, I must confess, because the police chief performed in an indecent state of dress. I was referring to that earlier. There's loads of criminal offences if you search the internet browsers when you dare show the public that you aren't wearing any trousers. And on to next week, and wondering who'll present the show. Well, that's this week now. The greatest detective of all time, the inimitable Frank Colombo. When you think you're off the hook and the phone won't ring, he'll call back and hit you with, "Oh, just one more thing." As we look, I should do Colombo. As we look towards the future, we can only hope for the best. There's no doubt that in living we've been put to the test. We certainly have. Until we get back to normal, take each day with care. So until then, let's roll. And hey, let's be careful out there. That was a reference to Hill Street Blues, by the way, for those of you that didn't understand that. Absolutely brilliant. Davy English, thank you so much for your poems and the card and your time. And thanks for watching the show. And if anybody's watching out there, thank you. I've not got a single comment or anything, but it's maybe they're switched off on this new second show. Anyway, we'll just carry on as if nothing's wrong, and keep going, bravely battle on with the show. Because we've got 10 minutes left. We're going to do some 2/4 marches now, and this is Lady Lever Park, which I know I've played on the show before, but I like it. And that's followed by the Athol and Bredalbin gathering. Oh, Bredalbin, that reminds me of the Quarrelsome Piper story I was going to tell you. I'll tell you about that afterwards. Gathering, brilliant. Yes, fantastic pipe tunes there. Excuse me. Yeah, and like the Quarrelsome Piper that the hornpipe I played earlier, they remind me of a story of some rather drunken pipers last night. In fact, I should have been playing the drunken piper. Because I was out for it was a band night out last night in Edinburgh, in the Passage to India, back Passage to India it was. We were through in the back part of it, the back room. Luckily, almost on our own, because it was quite a scene of carnage. It's supposed to be a band night out for Brogue, which is only three of us, me, Greg Borland, fiddler, and piper Gary West. And we were out with our little tiny manager, Gillian Cook, who also plays fiddle with me and is my secretary, part-time secretary. And it was very nice. Apart from Gary said, would it be okay if you brought some friends along, or people, well, rather, I don't know how friendly they were all very friendly by the time they reached us, but I don't know how well they knew each other, but they'd all been recording earlier in the day and obviously partaking of some refreshments at the same time as they'd been recording. Recording had gone a long time, as had the refreshment taking, and they were in a hell of a state, and they finally turned up an hour late for the meal. And there was a guy there that was actually, he was an Irish piper. He was actually, I've never seen anybody so drunk. He was unbelievable. He kept falling over and falling asleep and wandering off. We had to go chasing him, bringing him back in the restaurant. And later on, he fell backwards spectacularly on the chair, amazingly. Like all drunk people, despite the fact he went straight back with no cushioning. He seemed to be completely undamaged by the fall. Spectacular. And a young piper called Iona from Orkney, who I met, and a lovely woman from Ireland called Anita, who kept buying us rounds of Glavar for no particular reason, just as if there wasn't enough alcohol consumed by that point. And also at the table was Gary's son Charlie, who is a fiddle player, but mainly an actor. And he has got the dubious reputation of having shut down the Christmas panto at well, not panto, sorry, Christmas Carol at Dundee just before Christmas by getting coronavirus. So if you're going to get it in style. Shut down the whole play as well. Anyway, a fantastic night out, but it was so unexpectedly thrilling, thrills and spills literally all through the night. But the last words of the waiter apparently were, I'd already left by this point, but I heard like afterwards, the last words were, "Don't ever come back, please." So I'll leave it a while before I'll sneak in with one of my disguises on. You never know. Right, how are we doing? Time for one quick set. I don't know what's happened to my voice. Right, singing on the Chain Gang, that's what's done it. It's my voice telling me, don't sing, give up the singing. Okay, going to finish with a little set tunes. Apologise if you well, I'm going to say apologise if you watched the first part of the show when it then broke down in the middle and then couldn't find it again. There's no point in me saying that, because if you didn't find it again, then you never found this, did you? Anyway, hopefully you did get back onto the show. And we're going to finish with some jigs. Jiggy Jigs there, that was Seamus McNeil by Bobby McLeod. I think I played that a few weeks ago actually. And Nest Bohan by Fergie McDonald, and Jiggy Jig, also by Fergie McDonald. That's it for this week, folks. Thank you. Sorry for the breakdown in transmission there. Hopefully you caught both bits of the show, the pre-interval and post-interval. And we'll see you next week. Oh, it's Burns week next week. I don't know if I'm going to get the Burns costume out again. Maybe. Goodbye. Woo! Fun-loving criminals. Yeah, I'm a fun-loving criminal.